Hello and welcome to another episode of the Construction Corner Podcast. I'm Dillon. I'm your host, and I'm joined by my blue collar badass. And this week we have a special guest, Bill Reiman. So if you're a longtime listener, you'll remember Bill from like 2 years ago. And since then, we have become both much better in the podcast game and in speaking, just in general. But for those of you that don't know Bill is a broker builder down in Marco Island, Florida. He builds custom homes and absolute fortresses, which we're going to get into compared to what most people do for single family residences. Just in the type of construction that he does. He crushed the real estate game last year in his broker side of things, and just an all around good dude. Known Bill for 3+ years now. So Bill, welcome back to the show. And we got time commitments, so I'm jumping right in. That's all right with everybody.
Thanks. Yeah.
So welcome, Bill.
Thanks for having me, Dillon and Matt. I'm glad to be here again.
Absolutely, and good to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. So glad to be back on this show. I'm excited. And Dillon, you're right. We've come a long way. So hopefully this is a better episode this round.
To start out, I mentioned that you build fortresses of single family homes. Walk us through like what the construction is of the homes that you're building down there in Marco Island.
Yeah, there's, and a lot of people can, if you want to go, I'm just a little shameless plug here. You can go check out my Instagram and see a lot of how these things are built too. I actually am doing more of that and more individual videos coming out, but a lot of engineering in these houses, basically many commercial buildings, I like to call them, a lot of structural, a lot of concrete pilings. Everything is tied together completely. I was actually talking to a homeowner we're building for today where we're driving pilings, and he was shocked. He had his friend with him. He's just like, this is insane. There's 184 pilings on this job underneath this house alone. And he's just like, he goes, this is crazy how you guys do things. I go, well, this is just the start. I go up the road a little bit. We're about to pour a slab. It's at pre-slab, and go check out how everything's tied in from there too, because you can kind of see within the slab. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to go do that. But it's a different world. When people come down here, that's what I'm trying to do more, is educate people on why our costs are so different down here than up north, because you guys are used to a lot of stick built houses, not as much concrete, to where we're all block, structural tie beam, and then up from the second story, if they choose to, we can do wood 2x6 exterior up there with some concrete, but a lot of people are electing to do all concrete block upstairs as well. And then floors can also be hollow core planking, or they can also be just wood joists, truss, whatever. But yeah, a lot of detail, a lot of work, and it takes a lot longer to build down here as well.
So are you doing typically block walls, you said, or are you doing poured walls also kind of in the mix?
It's in the mix, yeah. So they pour, and it's also block too.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, up here in the north woods of Michigan, you poured walls are all subterranean. That's it, right? And it's 2x4 exterior unless you want to upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, we, like I said, on the second floors we can do wood upstairs for partial of it. It's just we use a 2x6 exterior on the upstairs, and we do a ton of ties into actually everything, because hurricane strapping, we call it.
Yeah.
And everything has to be high wind rated here too, which, I mean, that's where expenses come to. I mean, impact glass versus regular glass, there's a tremendous upcharge in that as well. And everything we do as far as doors is usually aluminum finish, because we live in a saltwater climate. So a lot of the salt there, and plus the rain climate that we're in, a lot of tropical during the summers here, a lot of rain. So there's just so many different things we have to do to make homes last here. I just did a video today on stucco exteriors, why we do them, the durability, how durable they are, doing different finishes in stucco and so on. And trying to come up with more stuff that a lot of people don't know, that I don't realize they don't know. So, trying to do more content that way. because as builders, we know all this stuff and we assume automatically that people know how these homes are built. They really don't. There's usually a lot of questions for it. So it's all about education.
I love it. And you're spot on. I mean, it's normal and mundane to us. We see it every day and just assume, but the average Joe or Jill has no concept of what goes into a building, whether it's a commercial building or a residential.
No, and they pay, they obviously pay us to do it, and that's the thing with content. I'm trying to make people feel more comfortable. So as they go into doing and building a house, and especially the houses we build that take up to 18 months to build from permit, so they know why, there's not, and when I tell people, well, how I get the question all the time, and I should do a video on this. You're going to hear me say a lot, but I get the question, well, how long is it to build a home? And I say, what size, 4,000, maybe 4,500 square foot home under air. That's going to take 18 months, 16, 18 months for us to do it. And they're like, oh, okay, all together. No. That's after plans. Once we get permit, that's start to finish. Could we go faster? Yeah. I mean, we tried to go as fast as possible because that's how we get paid. Sure. But I'm going to give them the longer term too on it. And it's giving them an understanding of, and once they get into the process and see how much actually goes into these houses and they're there witnessing it, they're like, yeah, I get it now. I get it. So,
because you're building multi-million-dollar homes, right? You're building, level 5 finish, beautiful mansions. And in there, how many of the people that you deal with are first-time builders of a residence?
Not many, to be honest. We do a lot of secondary homes, so I got a lot of people from up north. Or you mean like first time down here?
First time that they've built a home, right? That they've, from ground up, right? That to go through the actual building process. How many? I know that it's probably all second homes, but
yeah.
How many are they like? Because being in the building process, for a lot of people, this is going to be the first and only time that they've maybe done it. Even in the commercial world, you deal with like a municipality or school district, right? It's the first time that those people have ever gone through a construction project, probably in their lives, right? They haven't built their home. So I was just curious, for especially dealing with more affluent clientele, how many you're doing, have they done a process before in building?
Yeah, a lot of them have done the process. A lot of them, and that's where the education comes in too, and gaining the trust comes in, because a lot of them had a bad process with a builder too, and they're a little hesitant, and you got to get past that hesitation and kind of gain that trust. We've had some first timers as well, but that's kind of rare, just because, like I said, majority are building big houses up north and they're coming down, and they're not coming permanently down to Florida. A lot of the people, especially in Marco Island, Naples, are very seasonal. That's why on the way here, when I called you guys, I told you it's going to be a little bit, because it's our season, and it takes what used to be 15 to 20 minutes for me to get from here home to work is now, with traffic, about 35 to 40 sometimes, depending on how much people go 15 miles an hour under the speed limit. But anyway, it varies on the customer, but it's just a lot of education, a lot of communication is big too, kind of setting the expectation. I've been big on that, setting that expectation up front. Customers are, throughout the process, especially in the days we live in today, it's no matter what, they're going to question things. It's just kind of giving them those forewarnings and be able to say, when they come back and say, well, why is that price going up? Well, I told you so. I told you earlier on that this could happen. That's a difference maker in today. And I'm doing that a lot. I joke with a lot of people, customers, because I feel, rather than being a builder, I feel more like a psychiatrist these days. I'm more of a shrink because I'm on the phone every day. I obviously, my brother and I are the ones running the business, And I joke with him because I got to deal with majority of the customers. I've always been better with talking to people and so on. And my brother's very good at what he does on site. And it can be tough, but it's a lot of like I said, setting that expectation and communicating properly so they know what to expect if there is a price increase, stuff like that, which is a whole different topic that I'm going to. But yeah, not a lot of first time people. A lot of people have been through it. Some have had horrible experiences, and that's our job to make the experience better. And we've kind of figured out that way to make it better as well too, and implementing a lot of different things to, because they're big houses, it's a lot of money, and the more you can kind of have them involved, we've figured out now too, the more involvement with the customer, the more things that are not going to be missed. And I'm very big on face-to-face interaction too, rather than distance and over the phone, because having them there, being able to talk to them in person, go over a situation that wasn't good. I'll use an example. We had a tile situation. This was the second set of tile. First one was the wrong order, shipped by the distributor. Second one, and they weren't there, and it was right on the box, but wrong on the wall. Let's put it that way. Had to rip that down, replace drywall. Second one, it was the tile they wanted, but there was clear pieces you can see through it. They saw the mud then set through it. Talking them through that and saying, okay, there's not really a way around this. It's a clear piece of tile. Well, we didn't know that. Yes, but we don't do this tile every day. We do different tile all the time. So they didn't blame us. They were like, we get it. It's not your fault either. Because when you're mudding, they're putting it on thick. If they're going to put clear glass piece of tile on there, it's going to have bubbles in it too. It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them were very clean, but there was other ones that weren't. These people are very, very picky, very picky. So now we're ripping that tile down again, and they went to go select another one. They picked out 4 different ones, and now we're trying to figure out which next one they want. So it's a lot of work, a lot of communication, but we want it done right. We're getting paid on this tile, obviously, because it wasn't our fault, but it's making it, telling them that this isn't our fault. It's not their fault. They didn't know that was going to happen either. And it's not the tile guy's fault, but let's all come together and make this right to where they're happy. And that's the bottom line too, especially in a big house.
Yeah. I mean, I deal with a lot of the same general issues. Obviously different product type, vastly different product type, where we're building big commercial buildings. But communication is key. We focus on what we call real design build. And in the commercial world, that's, we're leading the pack. We're leading the whole game from design through handing over the keys. And if you can't figure out how to communicate with each and every individual, and in your case, it's highly affluent homeowners or homeowners to be. In my case, it's usually 1, 2, sometimes 10, key decision makers on a board of some sort. If you can't figure out how to get through to each and every one of them, you're dead in the water, because when the tile bubbles come up, or when, there's a leak in the metal roof, there's hell to pay if they don't have some idea, at least, and a level of trust with you. You mentioned being a psychiatrist. So my degree is in psychology, and I say the same thing. Like, I use my degree more than my cohorts that have construction management degrees, because you really have to get into that mindset to kind of focus and break through with people, I think.
Yeah, big time. And I've learned too, I'm very good about learning people how to react with them too. And that's a very good skill to have in construction, because if you talk to everybody the same, you're not going to get anywhere, and it's not a good thing. So learning how to talk to a different client is huge, especially in our world of building and so on. When you're dealing with customers, especially with a lot of money, I'm going to talk to a guy from New Jersey different than I'm going to talk to a lady from from Indiana. There's just different personalities with everybody, and learning how to mesh with those personalities is a skill that you pick up. It takes time, and I've been doing this a long time, and being on our sales side and so on for a long time as well. But it's also, like I said, the biggest thing we've learned is the communication factor, being able to walk through one of these big homes step by step. And some people are a lot more nitpicky than others, which is fine. Some people like to give it to us, say, hey, it's up to you guys, I trust you. And others are like, nope, we want it this way, we want this exact door stop in this exact spot, do not move it anywhere else, this needs to be changed, that, just the littlest things, like a few pieces of tile that you can see bubbles in. There's maybe to me, you or I, that might not be a big deal, but it's our customer, so we're going to want them to be happy. And I know that's going to bug the heck out of them too, to see that, especially in a powder bath. So we're going to figure out a way to make them happy. And it's just always communicating, always figuring out to resolve a problem. I mean, I've had instances too where stuff that happened, and I've talked about this on my podcast, is 5 years down the road and they're way out of warranty, stuff happened that should have not have happened, but we took care of it because it was a great client. Those clients are going to give us referrals forever. I've gotten 2 builds off this specific client since, and it's just doing the right thing too, which unfortunately not a lot of builders, because they're going to say, well, it's out of warranty, how's that my problem? But it wasn't that bad because I had the subcontractor took care of it, because we give them so much business, and he didn't charge me. And then also the plumber, where the problem was on this certain situation, he knew it was his fault and it should not have happened. And there was long story short, there was a screw in a drywall, pipe was loose, it wasn't attached to the stud, pipe was just free hanging there. It's PEX pipe dangling every time the toilet flushed, random drywall screw. Eventually over time that thing burst. Thank God homeowner was there, but water came down the elevator shaft, so we took care of it, because something like that should have not have happened. When we cut in the wall, we found out right away, and I got my plumber there and said, what happened? So it's doing those things, it's communicating, it's constantly doing the things that matter. And just as a builder too, that if it's something that isn't your fault, it's not your fault, but there's a way of going about it too, because stuff is going to happen, and after warranty and so on, I get calls from people that they expect, well, why is this happening? And if you explain it and have an explanation for it of why it did happen, then you're better off too, which not a lot of builders do, unfortunately, either.
Yeah, we call it our 1 year lifetime warranty. You're in it, right? And if you don't take care of it, you're just cannibalizing yourself.
Yeah. You're tied to these people for life, as long as they live in that house. I mean, I've sold secondary owners. I've sold our homes on the broker side. I've listed homes we built for the client, and then because they just recently that happened, and the new customer calls me, about stuff and say, hey, the exterior door is not lining up right, it's driving me nuts, it's rattling, and it looks like it might have bent on. I was like, it's probably bent on one of the hinges. I could go over and look at it when I get some time, or here's a handyman too that's willing to fix it. It's just being that contact, being able to set it up for them, and being that voice, their person they can call too, is what we want to do, is continue that relationship forever. I mean, we built the house too. We want them to be happy to be in a Reiman home as well. So
Yeah, one of the big things too that you mentioned is, you could call the plumber, right, 5 years later. And that, I think, goes to a lot of the time, we deal with the same people, right? We have the same people on our jobs. We work with the same guys in and out, right, for years on end. This industry, as big as construction is, it's really pretty small. There's not a lot of us doing what we do, and those relationships really matter. And if you screw something up or don't do the right thing, word's going to get out, and it'll get out real fast, because again, there's not that many of us that do what we do, right? Like even in the US, there's like 4,000 electrical engineers, right? Amongst the $1 trillion in commercial construction, that's like nothing, right? And the same for, in Marco Island, there's probably only a few guys, right, that are a plumber, a electrician, a handyman, whatever. And the good ones, the bad ones, and word gets around, and we all have that in whatever our market is, right? That for Matt, it's Southeast Michigan, who's good, who's bad, and everybody in between. But talk a little bit too, like about, you keep mentioning videos and doing a lot of that stuff, how social has really played a big part in kind of, I guess, your success over the last few years, and obviously not in your craftsmanship, but in your ability to sell and market, what it is you guys are doing and educate.
That's the biggest thing you said too, is the education factor of it. And I'm making kind of a switch, more transition to more of that. I need to do more education. I have the book right here, highly recommend it. They Ask You Answer. I don't know if you've read that one yet, but that's that one right there is kind of what I'm trying to focus on. I have a bunch of different video ideas written down right here too, but I'm trying to switch the focus, a lot of the focus. I still want to do our walkthroughs and so on, but the power of social, and I still believe there's still opportunity for people to get out and do more, but they're just not willing to in the construction world because it's not the norm of construction. Getting out and kind of talking about what you do in job sites and so on. But that's where the advantage is at it, especially in my area. There's nobody doing it. There's so many builders with chintzy websites too, and they just don't care. And especially now, times are good. There's new builders that are getting jobs because builders like us that have been around forever just can't handle the load right now, and they have to wait. So, and people don't want to wait. We live in an most impatient world ever. So if I tell somebody we're 4 months out from touching or even starting a plan, well, they're going to go somewhere else. But the problem with that is they're going to go somewhere else that doesn't have the experience we do. And it ends up they're going to be upset, and then they're going to be very cautious on their next one. And we've seen this whole thing happen back in 2005 with that craziness and so on as well. But social media, the thing with it, and I never did it. And then when I started doing it, it did make a big impact in both the building side and in the real estate side too. The building side of things, you never really think people are watching, but they all are. And every customer that I've had said, I love your videos. So, and I didn't expect that. I didn't bring it up. These were in initial meetings, and even after the fact, they just say, I love your videos. I love what you're doing. Keep doing it. And I even get messages now too, as more and more people go on to social media as well and different platforms. I hate to say the older demographic, but they're all getting on Facebook and Instagram as well. And believe it or not, TikTok's even becoming an older demographic. I'm not on TikTok yet. I probably should be. I need to. I'm mostly LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, but it's huge in a lot of ways, just because you can showcase how you do things, why you do it, and how you do it better. Your processes. I'm always showing, our punch outs. I'm showing, talking about why we're different in a way that I'm sure other people aren't. I can give my sales pitch up front before even meeting anybody. And then somebody sees my video and says, I need to talk to Bill at RK Reiman Construction. That gets a lot of different things out of the way. They like me because they saw my video. More than likely, they're going to go with me, versus if they didn't like me because they saw my video, that saves me a lot of time too. If they don't like my personality, I don't click with them, and it saves a lot of time, because meetings and bidding and all this different stuff that goes into our business takes so much freaking time that it kind of weans out those people that, okay, we're not going to mesh together, or he does all high end stuff or larger homes. Okay, I want something that's smaller at a cheaper price. I'm not even going to call him, and so that saves me from telling them too that are having to refer another builder, which as builders we all hate doing that. But it's just it's done a lot. I have fun with it. I don't even think about it anymore. Like, I just my fiance records me now, and she just pulls out the camera. We knock it down in one shot. I do the edits myself, and eventually I want an editing team, but or somebody to do it. But I mean, it's as easy putting on your phone, because a lot of people's excuse is I don't have time to do it. You do, because we're carrying these things everywhere. Like today's pilings, they were driving pilings. I was at a job site, popped out my phone, said, "Hey, yeah, we're driving pilings, 184 of them, blah blah blah. This is what we're doing. This is what this is here." And people like that. And then also just doing videos after, after work or whatever, job site's clear, just going over there real quick, shooting one video, editing it, throwing it up the next day. It's not hard to do, and people like seeing that, and they like learning, because like we talked about at the beginning of this, is not a lot of people know what's going on when building a house, and the more information or more you can show how you do it, the more attracted they are going to be to you. That's the thing. So get out and do video. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, and you've got 4K on a new iPhone 13 Pro. So
Yeah,
like,
when I got that new phone and I did that, I had a separate camera. I don't even use my camera anymore. I use this because the camera is so much better on this, and clear, and the wide view and everything, and the sound on it. And I got a microphone now. It's just everything links to it, and it's all there. I can just put it right up on my computer. It's just so much easier now. And these things are only getting better each and every year. You're not going to use a regular camera anymore. So it really is no excuse. And I've talked to a lot of people in construction, even within Arte too. And, they ask me about video, but not a lot of people are willing to do it because they're afraid. They're afraid of what people are going to say and judge them and so on, which I get it. I went through that too. But when I finally said screw it and just started putting them out one after the other, yeah, I got some comments from friends and stuff. Nice video, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing more than you. So and now they see it in the results, though. That's the thing. And people are just used to seeing video content come from me, and if I don't do it, they're like, oh, where's your videos, man? So it's just like anything else. You get used to seeing something so much that you kind of expect it to. And now I'm trying to create different things that I haven't done before and just keep it consistent as well. So social media is a must. Gary Vee, he's been preaching about that for years and years. And to be honest, I think we still got, if you haven't done it yet, you still have time to do it, because still, believe it or not, our industry, not a lot of people are doing it.
Yeah, and those that are, and I even fall in this trap myself sometimes, but the construction guys that I see on social that I follow, it's typically just a scrolling portfolio of still frame photos, right? Here's a project we did, here's blah 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 blah. There's never any real thought behind it, right? There's never any content to back it up. It's just pictures. And we have the same shit on our website. You can go look and see as many pictures as you want, but the pictures don't really tell the story like video certainly does. We need to get more into that on my side of the spectrum, certainly. But it's cool to see, and it's bringing recognition to the industry as a whole, right? That hey, you can go out and do these videos and showcase your content in a educational and an engaging way, and you can still be that construction guy. And I think you're helping to break that mold that the construction folks just can't do that. That's the general mindset, is we can't show our secrets, we can't do this and that. So it's cool to see, and it's cool to follow along.
Well, it's going back to what you said on we can't break our secrets. That's how my dad was. I mean, don't tell anybody how we do things and so on. And I forget who told me that. It might have been Andy Frisilla or Ed Milet, but one of them just said, who cares what you give out your business. Nobody's going to do it like you. Andy probably said it with First Form, is nobody is going to do your business like you. They can copy you, which is a compliment. And we all struggle with that too. I mean, I've seen people copy houses, like styles and designs that I came up with recently. Does it drive me crazy? Yes, because those were my ideas, but they're taking them because they know they work. So and they're going to see it anyway, because my content, I'm showing houses, I'm showing all these different things. And I got past that point of caring about all that. I got past the point of caring what others think as well. And I mean, there's probably construction guys that see my content and they're probably just like, yeah, look at this idiot doing videos and stuff like that. I'm sure there's a lot of them in my local area because they don't do it. But when the time comes and video, because it does matter so much and more traction is happening online, they're going to be left in the dust because people are going to go to our website. They're going to see the videos. I'm going to have all this content, which I have a ton of it already. And I'm just getting started at it too. That's the difference.
Yeah, it really amazes me that in this day and age, I've been looking at a lot of just profiles of engineering firm leaders across the industry. And these are firms doing, 25, $100 million worth of MEP work a year, right? Which means that they're doing a couple $100 million worth of projects a year. And presidents of these companies don't have a profile photo on LinkedIn, let alone a description or anything else, right? They have a profile, but nothing else is built out. And then you go look at their website, they kind of talk about projects. To get in contact with them hard, right? It goes to some random email somewhere and it's not really clear what they do. Like, hey, if you got a project, we'll do it. It's really the message that a lot of people send out versus being pretty specific about the types of projects that you do. Granted, a lot of these firms have, a division for site or division for civil or bridges or buildings or life sciences or whatever it might be. But it just becomes pretty complicated to try to like contact anybody. And I get that a lot of it's still done offline. But in a world where people do internet searches first, right? Google is the first thing you go to. It's having that content and having educational content, I think, is extremely beneficial.
Yeah, and word of mouth is always going to help. Obviously, that's always going to be there. And a lot of these older companies were very word of mouth. Our company has been around for over 25 years. We're word of mouth still too. But a lot of the stuff I'm doing too content wise, if we were just word of mouth instead of 22 houses, we would have probably 4, off of word of mouth right now, or maybe even 2. That's the thing. If I wasn't marketing, if I wasn't putting in the time, the work, the content, and so on. And yes, it is a lot of work. It's a lot of legwork on my time as far as after work, doing edits and all that kind of stuff too. But it's stuff that matters that a lot of people just are not willing to do and take the time to do. And things are going to change in the future too. I mean, it's just there. If you're not doing content, you don't have that online exposure, because that's the first place people are going to more and more. It's not asking a friend anymore. And this goes to like the realtors too. I mean, the pictures of I sold this and open house and look at the inside of this listing that I have. Those days are gone. Unless if you're not doing content as a real estate professional, you're going to lose. And the people that are doing the content are now beating out those people that were multi-million dollar producers. The content creators are beating those people out because those old school multi-million dollar word of mouth producers aren't doing anything, and people are going to the internet to find real estate. So that's the same with construction. Construction's a little bit behind on that because there's not as many of us. I mean, everywhere you go now, there's a realtor. But it's just it's going to be the same process. People are going to go online. They're going to click on websites. If your website's a single page with one of your houses and just has a description underneath it versus my website that has videos and interaction and all these different things, who are they going to go with? And I've already had that happen multiple times where, I saw your website, your reviews, your videos. I'd like to set up a meeting with you. And the guys that don't have that, which is quite a few of them that are old school in my area, they didn't get an interview. So it's just this stuff's going to increase more and more. That's why I'm a big advocate on it. I'm just going to keep doing it, trying to figure out ways that I can create content that's more educational, that's going to keep on attracting and bringing people to us too, but also telling them who we are as a company. So that'll kind of get rid of the ones that, and I'm rebranding us as that luxury go-to builder in our area.
Well, all right. I was waiting to see if Matt had any questions.
Sorry.
I know you got to jump.
Yeah, guys, I do have to bounce out here. My connection's pretty well gone anyways, but hey, Bill, it was great meeting you, sir. And I hope we
Yeah.
can continue this conversation sometime.
Yeah, for sure, Matt. We'll definitely connect again for sure.
Thanks, guys. We'll catch up with you both later.
See you, Matt. For all the work that you've put into it, and now you've got 22 houses, right, that you're building. What's really the market look like in Florida? That's probably another big question that a lot of people have. And, we hear of everybody, obviously, like I'm in California, but leaving California, leaving New York, leaving, a lot of states, heading to Texas and Florida. What's the reality on the ground?
We have 22, but the way I say it is to just so people that are listening think we're not too overwhelmed. Everything's like an assembly line to where everything's moving at a different pace. There's a lot of that we haven't even started yet because the beginning stuff's just taking forever these days because everybody is so backed up. So to answer your question about Florida is just there's so much construction going on right now. And a lot of money moving down to our general area now. There has been good money down here, but there's just a lot more from different areas building homes that they are going to eventually have as their forever home. But a lot of them are still going to be part-timers. A lot of people that still are working or people that have sold companies. There's a lot of movement down here. It's busier than I've seen in a long year. It's always busy this time of year, but this year it's extra busy. Like that ride home today took longer than it should be because we're not even in our prime season. I like to say is like springtime and spring break and all that kind of stuff. But Florida's booming. There's a good reason for it. Obviously, we got a great governor. He's been doing a lot of great moves too. So shout out to DeSantis. But a lot of people come here because they're tired of where they're at. They're tired of the high taxes and cost and cost of living for what they get and how much it does cost. And there's just so much opportunity in this state too. And even with subcontractors, there's just new subcontractors popping up left and right. And we're loyal to our subs, but I also bid other subs to keep mine honest. I got to check their prices, make sure that they're not getting out of control, because they're all busy too. And their labor costs are going up as well. So it's been very good. Who would have thought? I thought when COVID came too, we had a model home, we sold it just because we didn't know what was going to happen. But if we would have waited, we probably would have got another $1 million for it. So it's just that prices shot way up within the last 2 years. Inventory's way down. Construction costs are way up. I just had somebody in the lumber industry on my podcast, and commodity prices he doesn't see coming down anytime soon. So that's another whole nother story. But I just got an increase on Anderson products today. So anybody listening, you probably got that same 12% increase. So ours is impact glass though. So, but things are changing. We've had to alter our company and really pivot to doing things differently because of all this and get ahead. We got to order things a lot earlier and sooner. Things are getting discontinued quite a bit. So my fiance does all our selections with customers. So she's been going a little crazy when things get discontinued, having to go and reselect stuff for clients that aren't in town either. So it's a lot of work, but communication, like we talked about, just kind of getting through it together and talking to people and meeting with them when they need to meet and just being present has been huge as well. But we are busy. Yes, Florida is the happening place right now.
Living up to the hype. Yeah, because we've talked about, over the last 2 years, just in commodity prices and steel and in the kind of supply chain really of a lot of these things. Like wood's back up crazy. Like it's took a little dip there for a while, but now it's back up again. We just talked about on the recent episode where Nucor and US Steel are announcing each $3 billion facilities to roll steel. Granted, those aren't going to be online for 3 years.
Yeah.
But at least they see, in 5 years that we're still going to have the demand for steel in the US and to put those plants in. So I have hope, but obviously, like, it takes a while to build all this stuff out and rebuild the supply chain to put in the facilities to do the manufacturing and bring it all here. Like we talk about, on this show a lot is, bringing, you got to remember, like, all the stuff for steel comes out of the ground, right? You got to cut a tree down, you got to do all those things, and natural resources, right? My wife's geologist, works in a mine, and the amount of stuff and rock that goes into glass and feed, and like our at our local winery here, like, our winemaker had trouble finding bottles. Like, he had to go to Mexico to some other place, like, that he typically wouldn't go to get bottles for the newest run. And it's like, and he's not, it's 7,500 cases, so it's like not bad, but it's not a huge run of product. But to the whole point on, like, the amount of windows being built right now, and Anderson products, and it goes to everything, right? The same core materials go into glass as go into, from bottles to screens to windows to doors, everything else. It's amazing, when you start to really look at the supply chain. But it's awesome to hear Florida lives up to the hype, and it's a good place for everybody to be. And just, Florida for years has been a place that New Yorkers have come, right? It's we're home for New Yorkers forever.
Yeah, we get a lot of Midwest on our coast, which we get Northeast. A lot of more Northeast go to the other coast, but our coast is a little more calmer over here, so it's not as hustle and bustle as Miami and Lauderdale and all the craziness over there. Naples is a little more laid back. That's why I like it. It's more my style. Highways are straight shot, not winding in and out. So, that's my thing. But we're busy, and I think too, with a lot of supply chain stuff, everybody's on the same page. So people kind of know what to expect going into building a house. They've been patient with us. They call me, quite a bit, asking where things are and so on. But when I explain it, they all just are like, yeah, it is what it is. We're all living through it together. So it's just, we got a lot. We're very blessed right now to have a lot of great clients. And, we've been very fortunate to be in a position to kind of pick and choose who to work, we're going to end up working with too, because we are busy. We're the type that we don't want to get in over our heads too. I've passed up a lot of people just because I just don't want to lose that quality, but we are growing, and we've hired to just keep up and expand. But still, we got a lot of projects coming in. They are large, and they take a lot of focus to detail. So we're trying not to lose control, because then you lose your business. So even no matter how busy you are or unbusy, so it's just something that we're looking at as well.
Yeah, I've been having this conversation a lot here recently, is especially in construction, for everybody to remember, one project can sink you, right? One project can ruin your entire company. And unlike basically probably every other industry, right? Like, one widget, one product, one thing off the line going bad isn't the end of the world. But one house, one building, one project going south can be the end of a company. And it's something that I think we all have to keep in the back of our minds, right? To uphold that quality that you talk about is of the utmost importance for a number of reasons. But the number one reason is it will sink the ship if it goes south.
Well, it's huge. I mean, we've had those tough customers too. I dealt with one recently, or he's called me recently, but he was bad. I heard rumor that he was saying to certain people that we weren't a good builder, and I called him out on it. I go, you were saying certain things about us. I don't like it. And you're out of your warranty now. Usually, I said, no matter what, I still go up and help and look at it and hook you up. And out of good conscience, I'm still willing to do that. I called my roofer for him for a situation. But by me doing that, confronting that situation, which most builders would have just probably ignored them and said, I'm done with that. I'm done with that asshole, this and that. He's been texting me Merry Christmas. Hey, when I get back in town, let's have a chat, and let's meet up and talk to each other and square, let's get everything square of what you think the issue is and so on. So it's just communicating with these people. Yeah, you're going to have difficult clients and so on too, but it's you got to just keep your head up and keep the quality, keep that. I mean, today, here's another example. I got a client that she had a light fixture rust. I've already gotten new light fixtures ordered. They're just taking a while, but she's got a rust spot on the front of the house. I talked to her today and I'm just like, hey, can I go into your garage and just grab your exterior paint? She goes, for what? I go, that spot on the front of your house is driving me crazy. She goes, oh, just wait till they replace the lights. I go, it's driving me crazy. I can just run by there real quick and hit it for you, and just touch it up. It's not a big deal. She's like, really? Bothers you that much? I was like, yeah, because we built the house. So, if it was another person's house, but it's our house. People are driving by that and seeing that spot from, that fixture that rusted. And it's I'm gonna touch it up for her. So it's little things like that and going above and beyond, and no matter what, no matter how difficult, just doing the right thing, and it goes a long way. It really does.
Sure, man. I mean, nothing beats doing the right thing. Will always serve you, whether today or in the long run. To kind of wrap things up, what's maybe something you want to leave obviously communication is a big deal, getting your word out, educating clients, educating customers, educating maybe the public in some cases on what you're doing, depending on your projects. What else is something that you want to leave, our listeners with in construction in these times, and maybe something to look forward to?
I'd probably say don't ever undercut yourself. Don't ever undercut your value of who you are as a company. I mean, I've had plenty of situations where that was asked upon us to do, and I've passed up multi-million-dollar jobs to not do it. It's something, it goes a long way into who you are. I've been asked to, cut our price. I've been asked to, you know, um, do stuff like that. Even in spec homes, don't undercut the value of things to make more margin. Do the right thing, build with quality, because it will go a long way. Not with everybody. Some people are very price driven. They're always going to be price driven. I'm a big believer in you get what you pay for. And I'm also a negotiator. I've been in sales. I'm going to negotiate with you. And if it doesn't work out and you say there's no negotiations, all right, okay, it is what it is. Some companies don't do that, but I'm still going to try, and I'm going to try hard. But it's don't ever undercut your value, and don't ever skimp on things, cut corners. Quality is a big deal to me, and just showing up and doing the things you say you're going to do, and showing that to the client is big too. Like showing them, okay, we're going to take care of these things that we said we're going to take care of. We're going to do punch outs more, better, bigger, and better than anybody, so that there's no issues later on. The stuff that you don't want to do and other people don't want to do it. That's the thing. It's just because that's what's going to level you up ahead. Because like we keep talking about, there's competition out there. You got a lot of competition, but how can you separate yourself, and how do you market yourself to where you're better? And like I said, people are going to go with price. Don't cut yourself short and have to be the bottom line price. Have your price set, but have people go to you because they know what they're going to get. That's the difference maker. And that's where we're at as a company too, because we're not the cheapest. We're not the most expensive. We're pretty much in between. I mean, we're higher priced than some other builders and so on, but people know what they're going to get out of us. They know they're going to get a superior product. They know they're going to get that attention to detail, and they know that they're going to get that long-term relationship from a family business too. So it's just a lot of new builders out there. They think way ahead. They think way ahead than they really truly are, and where they're at, it takes time. Companies always take time to build. Even real estate businesses take time to build. It took me 12 or I'm 10 years in now to where I am now, and that's still building. It's just everything takes time. We're very impatient, and I've had to learn a lot of patience over the years. I'm not the most patient person either, but just kind of stepping back and saying, hey, you're still young, you got a long way to go, and looking at where some of these older guys are and what they've done. Can I do better? How can I do better? That's what to look at, my opinion.
Yeah, and to remember that those skills compound, right? So that everything that you do today, is the foundation for whatever you're going to do tomorrow. And the skills that you gain today, you couldn't do the next thing without being great at the thing you have today, right? Whether that's being able to talk, right? Like just look at us for 3 years ago, you couldn't string together sentences. And now, we could do an hour-long podcast and show without having to really think too much about what we're saying. And that goes to just the repetitions and putting in the work of the skill of talking and being able to tell stories and everything else. And then you can get to the next thing where now you can do one take videos, and you get to the next thing of you can do long videos and walkthroughs without having to shoot it 18 times. And those are all like compounding skills, or the skill of how to do a foundation or pilings to, flooring to walls to finishes, right? Everything builds on the thing before it, and to understand that everything compounds, and your ability to do something great today is going to ensure your ability to do something great tomorrow. And in design, right, it was always, you're either going to pay for it now or you're going to pay a lot for it later. Right? You can get it right in design and it's a penny, to get it right in design. It's $1 to get it right in really the bidding process. It's $10 if you're going to do it in the field. Take your pick on what you want to pay for. So the sooner you can identify problems, the sooner you can solve them, the more costly, or the more time you're going to save later, more money you're going to save, and everything just flows better. People have a better experience. They're happier through the process. And it's always, like, you never complain about when the air conditioning's working. You complain about when it goes out, right? So you want to make sure that there's nothing for people to complain about, and you're just doing your job through the process.
Preach. Amen to that. I mean, it's spot on. It's spot on. If you do things right the first time, it's going to save you a lot of time and aggravation later on, plain and simple. Yeah. And I grew up in that. I was taught that by my dad, and and same with my brother. We saw it hands-on growing up as kids, working for him, and how, everything was clean. Job sites were, pristine. Things were just done the right way. And if they weren't done the right way, meet with the client, go over it. What happened? Okay, whose fault was it? And that's fix it and correct it, and work together to do so too. So there's always ways to work with clients and make where everybody's happy, to where you're just not shrugging your shoulders and saying, well, it is what it is, and going on to the next thing.
Yeah, work through it. Bill, where can they find you?
You guys can connect with me on Instagram, any social media platform. Just search Facebook Bill Reiman, and then Instagram is I'm Bill Reiman. So the letter I, the letter M, and then Bill Reiman. And then also I'm on LinkedIn. That's just Bill Reiman. YouTube, you can find me on there. I'm trying to get better at that. Just the download time's always, it's not as instant. So I got to get better with uploading stuff to there. But I'm on YouTube as well. And then my podcast is the Real Build Podcast. Go check that out as well. I got to have Dillon on there one of these episodes coming up here in the future as well. So go check that out.
And guys, all the links will be in the show notes below. Bill, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate the conversations that we have as always. And really just a good perspective, man. I always see you doing the right thing. I see you educating, really helping people to show them that they could do, really anything they put their mind to. You've been video, I think about 3.5 years now since kind of the start of Arte was when you did video, and you've come a long way and done a lot of things, right? From wearing the Uncle Sam suit to a lot of different video ideas, and just putting it out there and not being afraid to wear a costume and wave a flag and all that kind of good stuff.
Gotta have fun with it, man. That's what I'm trying to do. Have fun, come up with different ideas and different things, and not be so uptight too. People, you could see through my content too. I'm always laughing. I'm having a good time too. It's just not, well, this is what this is, and this is what, there's too much of that out there. Have fun, be you. I am me in those videos. I have a blast doing them, and people see my personality. I like to joke around and have a good time, and they see that. And those who like it, let's build a house, and let's sell a house, and let's get you a house. So I can do all the above.
All right, guys, that is this episode of the Construction Corner podcast. Until next time. Hey guys, Dylan here again. I just want to remind you that if you get value out of this episode, if you learned something, if you were better for it, if you really enjoyed it, to go ahead and share it with a friend. We grow this podcast really by word of mouth, by you spreading the good word, talking about construction, talking about the trades. We want to build a great America, and it all starts with each one of us. So if you got something from it, if you laughed, if you cried, if you learned something, if you were better for it, please share the show. We appreciate you, and thank you so much for listening to the Construction Corner podcast. Matt and I do this out of a labor of love, and we just appreciate you for listening, for supporting us, and for being a part of the great construction industry. Thank you guys, and we'll see you right back here next week.